everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves and welcome back to another match preview. Today we're going to be previewing the game between Aston Villa and Wolves in the Carabao Cup. Big game coming up for Wolves and these two Midlands teams fighting it off for a place in the quarter-final of the League Cup. Before we start off though, make sure you go and check out our channel partners over at OneFootball. As always, fantastic to have them sponsoring the channel, and a link to them is in the top of the description down below. Fantastic football app to go and check out. If you don't already use one, you can check out your live scores, your live football news, transfer rumours, team news, everything on there. So fantastic app to go and check out, free to download on Android and iOS. But Wolves will be gearing up for another tricky test, the third of 4 consecutive away games, and this time we're going to be going a short trip to Villa Park to face off against Aston Villa in the Carabao Cup. It's a competition that Nuno's never really taken too seriously. In his first year, we got all the way to a game against Manchester City and took them all the way to penalties with a sort of second string team. Last season was a little bit more disappointing. We were kicked out quite early. And this year, of course, we've already beaten Reading. And we were able to sort of, because of us being in Europe, go into one round later than usual. But today we face off, tomorrow actually, we face off an interesting task against Aston Villa. A team, of course, who came up into the Premier League last season and have had a pretty decent start. Recent form suggests, they're in an okay area at the moment. They've lost just 1 of their last 5 in all competitions. Of course, Wolves are unbeaten. I think Wolves are unbeaten now in 8 games. They've actually only lost 3 of 20 competitive games this season, Wolves. So, of course, there is some negativity around the fan base. There's some positivity around the fan base. It just depends which angle you're looking in at, really. But Wolves have had a solid season so far. But it could be a lot better. But at the same time, it could be a lot worse. But Aston Villa is going to be an intriguing task tomorrow. Of course, Dean Smith, in charge of them, has done a fantastic rise. He's a great manager. Was managing Walsall just a number of years ago. Got his move to Brentford. Then he's a big move to Aston Villa and managed to get them into the Premier League. And as I say, they're doing okay so far. The EFL Cup, though, for me, it sounds like both teams are going to be rotating and starting quite weak teams. For me, I would go for this. If Wolves genuinely and Fosun genuinely want to beat this big club that we're sort of aiming to be, you've got to be in Europe and so on quite consistently. And for me, the Carabao Cup is possibly one of our easiest routes back into the Europe next year. To get top 7 again will be extremely difficult, especially with the performances so far of the likes of Leicester and so on. And the likes of Spurs and Manchester United are only going to improve. And then we've got to battle off against a few other teams to try and get a top 7 place. It's going to be extremely difficult. So I think the cup competitions, such as your League Cup and such as your FA Cup, are going to be the easiest routes back into it. And for us, if we beat Aston Villa, we're just 1 game away from, we're in the quarter-final. If we beat Aston Villa, we're just 1 game away from a 2-legged semi-final. And currently, you look at that cup draw, there's 2 League 1 sides playing off against each other. There's 2 League 2 teams playing off against each other. So there's a chance of picking up a club that is in League 1 or League 2. There's another League 1 side facing off against Leicester in Burton. And then you've got Liverpool, Arsenal and Chelsea, Manchester United. At least 2 of them going to be knocked out. So Wolves will be one of the strongest teams in the Carabao Cup quarterfinals if we manage to get through. And there's some very winnable ties in there for us. So I know Wolves and Nuno in particular won't be as concerned. I think this is a pretty low priority in terms of competitions, whether that be because of prize money, whether that just be because they're much prioritising the league and the Europa League. But I would genuinely look to maybe go for this. And I think we're going to be starting a rotated team, and if we win, it's a bonus. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us almost go for an identical team to the team that faced off against Reading. So John Ruddy coming in goal. I expected John Ruddy to play a little bit more this season, especially with us being in Europa, but it looks like Patricio is the man, and Ruddy's going to be playing in games like this one. So Ruddy in goal, a back 3 of Vallejo coming back in. Of course, he's been having some stick recently, but I think it's a good chance for him. It's a massive game, a big chance for him, obviously, to come back into the side and actually prove his worth, a full 90. Ryan Bennett in the middle of the back 3. I think, the thing with Connor Cody playing every single game sort of ended at Reading now. So I think Bennett did a good job in the middle of a back 3 against Reading. So it'd be interesting to see him there. And then on the left of those 3, Max Kilman again. Had a good performance against Slovan Bratislava, and he'll come in again. Wing backs of Vinagre, left wing back, and Matt Doherty at right wing back. I think Vinagre will add that attacking option. Matt Doherty, I think, will just add like a little bit of a little bit of something, a bit of experience. And he's a bit more solid at the back than Adama Traore. Although I would have loved to see Adama come on at some point. I'd imagine he'll start on the bench. Middle three, I think Neves is going to play in there, in that middle three. Although obviously he had a pretty high challenge on him at Sunday. I noticed on one of his sort of Halloween party pictures, whatever that was going around on Instagram, he had some sort of plaster or bandage around that leg. But I'd assume he'll start. And then it's rumoured that a number of youngsters are currently in the first team squad. So Taylor Perry, so I think he's going to start maybe. If not, he's definitely in the squad. And then Bruno Jordao, who's back in training, could also start as he did against Reading as well. Then the strike force, I think Neto and Catrone are going to start. Benny Ashley-Seal on the bench. I would not be surprised to see him play some part in the game with him being so prolific. But it sounds like Aston Villa are going to rotate as well. Jack Grealish is out injured, it sounds like. There's a few players that they're not going to risk for tomorrow. But of course, it's a massive game. There's going to be a huge amount of fans there. Sold out crowd. 5,500 Wolves fans there. Luckily enough, I'm going to be going. I've got a ticket for the game. But it's a huge game. And it's a game that really I hope Wolves will go for. Regardless of lineup, as long as we put in 100%, 100% effort, anything is possible. And notoriously, Nuno has got the best out of these fringe players. Sometimes we've done it, 3 or 4 times in the last 2 years. There's no reason why we can't do it again tomorrow. Prediction: I'm going to go with 2-1 Wolves. I'd love us to get a victory. And as I say, 3 losses in the last 20 games competitively is not bad at all. But yeah, if we can go, show what we could do, and then we're into the last state of the League Cup. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you think Wolves should go for it? Do you think it's a winnable game? Or do you think Wolves should rotate? I put a poll on Talking Wolves earlier on today, and a huge percentage of people aren't too bothered. They'd much rather see us rotate the team. So it'll be an interesting one. It sounds like they're gearing up for Arsenal away as well on Saturday. But let me know your thoughts. Hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, guys. And until next time, I'll see you all very, very soon.